Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 14 of Teddybears and Tentacles podcast. Tentacles, my name's Quinn, and with me today I have Skinny Rick.
Ta-da.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Yeah, you had a good week?
Yeah, I've been doing a Pokemons.
Yeah, we've been playing mad Pokemons.
Been doing a, yeah.
So before we get into it, we are by the time that y'all are watching this will be Thanksgiving week. We are going to be putting out a Thanksgiving episode,
Correct.
with a guest, and so be looking out for that. And we plan on trucking through the holiday season with extra episodes and all that stuff. So, yeah. So I guess we can get into it, dude. So you've been playing Pokemon. I've been playing Pokemon.
Yep.
Everybody's been playing it. What do you think about it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What starter did you get?
Starter?
I know what starter you got, but tell everybody.
I got Grookey. Got that grass type.
Mm-hmm.
Named it Skittle Pete.
And you like him or what?
Oh, yeah.
So how far have you got so far?
Well, I just finished the second gym, but I think I wasted my time because I was leveling up all my Mon to go fight in the gym.
Yeah.
And then I just one-hit everything in the gym.
Yeah, I mean, you really only have to do one or two that train, like one or two that are the type.
Yeah.
That are like strong against the gym type. You don't have to do like a full squad.
Yeah.
Very rarely. I mean, if you can't tell, the trainers going up to the gym leader are pretty bad. So yeah. There used to be some little puzzles, but not games like they have in this one. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did the water gym. So I guess I'm like 3 gyms into it. I will say that the game, one thing that's a little bit different about the game is that for the older games, you had a lot more to do between gyms, especially in the beginning. For this one, it's been pretty like gym route, with just like a few trainers on each route. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm sure that for this, they've been working on this thing for so long. This is the first one that they did that, is not exclusively handheld. So I'm thinking that they spent the time on it for the later part of the game to have some cool stuff going on. I do like the open world. It just seems like, as of right now, I'm just blasting through the storyline. We were talking earlier, and the scaling in the Pokemon in the wild I think they did a really good job on it. So, it used to be after a couple gyms, you would be, pretty far ahead of the, just random Pokemon out in the wild.
Yeah.
With this one, they scale it to where it seems like they're always your level or maybe like a level or two above you. And so that's pretty cool. But, yeah, so you're liking it?
Mm.
You got anything to add to any of that stuff?
No. I mean, I'm just having fun with it.
And you mostly play Go,
Yeah.
and you played Emerald too as well.
I didn't beat it, but I have it.
So what do you think about the transition from Go to this?
I mean, it's not like the same thing.
Yeah, it's not even close to the same thing.
Go is its own game. Go just happens to be a game that takes place in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah.
It's not like a Pokemon game.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this game will open you up to some other stuff. You have a whole slew of turntable or turn-based games, like all the Final Fantasies work, essentially the same exact way.
Sure.
All the turn-based ones, and there's a lot of, you've probably seen, I'm sure, and dismissed them, like all those Japanese anime style art games that you see, like Star Ocean, and most of them are on like PlayStation, but there are some on Switch and all that. Those pretty much all function the same way, so kind of opens you up to a new category.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the patience for that, and they aren't. I know that your dad doesn't like them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he doesn't have the patience for it, but it's its own thing. It's it's its own kind of deal. You got to care about little stats and numbers and all that stuff, and it's just different, I think. So I know you'd like it though.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with your team next, you think?
I mean, next is the fire gym, so I've got some water mons that I'm beefing up. Yeah. Teaching them some good moves.
Cool. So does Shane give you any of the other starters, or are you still rocking your
No, I'm just
your normal guys?
regular.
Cool. Well, that's good. Anything else happened this last week?
I got to do I got to see what a high budget production looks like. I got to go on set.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody about this, because I got to experience not that, but
But the food.
yeah, the food, and we passed by some actors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I don't know. They didn't even really talk about what we're allowed to talk about, because it's a show that's coming out. So, basically, they were filming here in Savannah down the street, and I got to watch them go through a few takes of this one scene, and there were some famous people, actors and actresses that I know.
yeah.
But what was funny to me is that some of the people who went, or I guess some of the people that I was talking with about it were talking about, oh, you might get to meet this person, and I was like, yeah, but I just want to see the crew work.
Yeah.
So getting to watch the cinematographer and the director interact, and watching the camera guys do their thing, it was nice, because there was so many people crammed into this tiny little narrow street.
Yeah.
And they're all working like clockwork. It's just, it's good.
It's interesting, man. It is, for sure.
So
I do miss that aspect of producing big live events, is having a control room and 5 or 6 cameras and all that.
Yeah.
It's an adrenaline rush that nothing else really gives you,
Yeah.
It's good, man. I'm glad you got to see it.
I'm excited. I got to meet some people, some of the crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had fun. I enjoyed it. And I got invited to participate. The event isn't invitation only, so it's not some exclusive thing, but just I met the guy who runs the 40-hour film festival here in Savannah, and he was like, you should do it next year, so I'll let you know when it is.
Oh, you're gonna submit something?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It would be nice if he
I've
told
never-
you when it was, because it could be what if it's February? You know what I'm saying?
He said
wouldn't have
sometime
enough
in
time.
July.
Yeah.
Well, the way that this one works, because I've done a bootleg version of this, I'm just now thinking, I'm going to be gone. I don't know when yet, but a whole month out of the summer next year. That's pretty much the only traveling.
Yeah.
That in Africa is all I'm doing, because I'm doing work crew for Young Life.
Yeah.
Gonna go work.
Cool.
But I'm now that I'm thinking about it, it would suck if they were on top of each other, overlapped.
Which one would you choose if they were?
I mean, I'd go with the work crew just because I've been planning on doing it for a year.
Yeah. Talking about for the film festival. Well, I mean, I don't know, dude. I would. Are you gonna try and connect with that guy and see if you can?
Well,
be
the way
a grip or something.
I'd love to,
Yeah.
but the way that it works is freaking. I've done some bootleg competitions before, but this is the real one. And basically, you get assigned. You get 2 genres randomly assigned to you. You can pick one of them or do both and combine them together.
Yeah.
Then you've got to have a character's name, like personality, line of dialogue, and like a prop. There's like you have to basically you have specific things you have to have in the film. You get all that, and then you have 40 hours to make it. And so whatever you can do in 40 hours.
Yeah, and so you did this with Damien, right?
Yeah, that was a 50-hour film festival.
Yeah.
Which 50 hours, that's a whole 10 extra hours.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which is a lot of time whenever you're, and that includes editing and everything. Yeah, it's hardcore.
That was hard, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think we can do it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
But yeah, I'm trying to. I don't want to bug the guy because I know he's busy right now because he's like working pretty much all the time on this show. So, but maybe, who knows, maybe in a few months I'll reach out and see, hey, is there.
Yeah.
I'm cheap.
Cool. I'm cheap. Yeah.
I'll work for no money, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up, bro. I'll go spend a week out on set for no money as long as you get my food.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, try it out, dude.
Just try it out.
Try it out. Sorry. Yeah, well, that was cool. We got to go eat lunch on the set.
They had the best food.
Yeah, they had like this buffet set up, and it was crazy good.
So good, dude.
I will say the empanadas could have been better.
Oh, really? I loved them.
Yeah, they could have been better, I think. I think I needed like a sauce to go with it. You know what I mean? Some kind of a homemade sauce.
The street corn was a little bit too limey,
Yeah, it
but
was very limey.
also
it was good. It was good though.
Perfect.
Have you ever had Bull Streets? You've had Bull
once.
Streets.
Yeah,
it's good.
But it doesn't come on the cob. It comes.
No, it comes on the cob.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to get into a few things today. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. And so the first thing is, do you remember this girl, Greta Thunberg, that a couple months ago, right after Epstein killed himself, the like 16-year-old girl that was speaking on climate change and stuff like that?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So type in Greta Thunberg time traveler.
Boom, 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 boom.
So
wham. Blast.
Here's a picture right here that they're saying is 121 years old.
Dude, get out of my face with every single ad.
Dude, what is happening?
There are so many ads you can't even see the article. All right.
So we don't need to listen to this, but check out that picture, dude. It's a 121-year-old picture.
She's for sure a time traveler.
So this article's from HuffPost. It says a photo taken 121 years ago has sparked a hilarious internet conspiracy theory that teen climate activist Greta Thunberg is a time traveler who landed in 2019 to save the Earth. The image shows 3 children operating a machine in a gold mine during the Klondike Gold Rush in 1898. It was shot by Eric Hegg in the Yukon Territory of northwestern Canada and is today part of the University of Washington's Special Collections Archive. And we'll put these pictures up on the screen. So check this picture out, man. It looks exactly like what you would think some little kids working some Alaskan like gold mining thing for like their parents, you know. They have if you've ever been to like Pigeon Forge, and they have the things that you could pay like $15 for, like mine your own rocks. She's holding one of those things, like a sifter.
Dude, it's so her, dude.
Yeah, it does look a lot like her.
Oh, is this another one?
Yeah, that is another one.
Oh, they just
Oh, they just black and white. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny, dude. I've heard some weird theories surrounding her. I've heard that she is AI. I've heard that she's a clone.
What the heck?
no matter what, dude, she is
A time traveler.
She is
a minor.
She's pretty young, 16, and to be into all this stuff, I don't know, dude. This just wasn't what I was into.
16 is so young.
I mean, you were pretty close. You're basically a recently ex 16-year-old. How does what's up with that?
I don't know. Feels like I was 16 5 million years ago because this year is the longest year ever of my life.
So do you think that at 16 you could have been into these political movements like this girl is, or no?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, no one knew or knows who I am. Like, that's really part of it. Like, she probably knows. She's probably got like a family friend that got her doing all the stuff.
Well, I mean, in public school, there's a lot of different stuff that's available for kids to go to. That's like there's this thing called youth legislation, which is literally like they build like a little mini government style thing with like a House of Representatives and all that stuff, and they like do mock legislation, and you could be like a little kid doing it.
I mean, we've done mock trials and stuff in school, but nothing like that.
Oh, I'm talking about like you like go out of state to do this stuff. I can remember kids doing that.
We did this downtown in like the courthouse.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see some little girl like kind of getting into something like that, and just kind of really. I don't know. I just couldn't see myself liking doing it, but. Apparently she does. She hangs out with like Obama, and
I think the question is like, how hard is it to time travel?
I don't know, man.
Because time traveling forward is easy. We can do that.
Yeah, we just did it.
Yeah. No, but like really.
Seriously.
Doing a forward is easy. It's doing a that's backward that's difficult.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to really say about any of this stuff. I mean, it's obviously just a silly theory, but as far as like her stance and all that, I don't really get it. This is I mean, I get it for sure. Now as an adult, I get it. I don't get a 16. I mean, it is good that we have 16-year-olds that care about all that. This reminds me of, I'm watching this show on Hulu right now called Castle Rock. I told you about that.
Yeah.
It's a Stephen King series, and it's coming out week by week, but this is, there's kind of there's a back and forth between like 400 years ago and now in the recent episode that I watched, and it reminds me of this kind of stuff, although this was 120 years ago. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't really know. She's holding some kind of award looking thing in that picture, doesn't it look like to you?
Yeah,
some kind of a trophy or something like that. Let's look up this girl's accomplishments. Thunberg, not Thornburg. Then I think maybe next week, if you want, we can start talking about The Mandalorian a little bit. I mean, we'll be 3 weeks into it. And if we start talking about it episode by episode, so if we start talking about episode 1 next week, maybe we can rewatch it and talk about it. That gives people plenty of time. I think with a show like that, you're out of spoiler alert at 2 episodes past whatever episode you're talking about,
sure,
in my opinion. So maybe we can do that. So
she was nominated for the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize.
Ultimately awarded to Ethiopian Prime Minister. See, yeah, but to do this, I want to see Greta Thunberg accomplishments. Like, I want to see. Actually, let's see if you could do the history of Greta Thunberg. So this is what I have the issue is with shit like her nomination is with the Ethiopian Prime Minister. You know what I'm saying? Like, is she inventing stuff? Is she like, I just don't. Speech quotes. Okay, hit that one on medium. See right there, right above the videos section. Let me see this. It's cold in here, man. Skinny Rick doing an ear scratch.
Yeah.
So she was born in Sweden to her mother, Melinda Ernman, an opera singer who represented Sweden in the 2019 Eurovision Song Contest, and father. Okay, so her parents aren't political. It doesn't look like they're political people necessarily. Her mom sounded like she was on basically Sweden's Got Talent, and her dad was just an actor.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So Greta's father is a distant relative of science Svante Arrhenius, who essentially discovered global warming. Arrhenius was the first person to investigate the effect that increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere had on Earth's surface temperature and found that it caused warming. This became the basis of the first model of the greenhouse effect and led scientist David Keeling to demonstrate in 19... Dude, okay, go down. Dude, what do you think? You think she just found like some of her relatives' journals?
Maybe.
And she's just like, this shit, dude, I'm taking this to the world stage.
Dude, what the heck? Yeah.
Greta herself first learned they put...
Where?
Greta herself first learnt Learnt medium.com. I don't even know. Are they typed to text? Talk to text, you think?
I don't know.
So she learned about it at the age of 8 when her class was shown. Okay, so many typos in this paragraph. When she, supposed to go there.
No.
She and her class was shown documentaries about climate change at school. At school, she was always the one to be sat quietly at the back of the classroom, but she remembers being more affected than other students, dude. It was in her bones, bro.
Dude, she felt
that climate change
the
activism
climate
in
change.
her bones, dude. That's genetic for sure. My classmates were concerned when they watched the film, but when it stopped, they started thinking about other things. I couldn't do that. Those pictures were stuck in my head.
They started thinking about their test that they got to do next week. They started thinking about
She puts this down to having Asperger's and selective mutism, both illnesses which can cause anxiety and overthinking. Most of us, like Greta's classmates, can compartmentalize knowledge effectively. So it's saying that she just wasn't able to compartmentalize that. Dude, I'm telling you right now, she just found this guy's journals.
Yeah.
So for sure. That has to be what happened, bro. Scroll down. I kept thinking about it, and I just wondered if I'm going to have a future. She was so deep in her depression that she stopped attending school. I want to say this first off. We're not talking about this to make fun of this girl. For real. We're only learning about her. I find this to be bizarre because it is a child that is 11 years old or 8 or whatever, 8 or 11, doesn't matter. She's less than 32. That is, you don't have to be 32, but she's very young to be worried about this stuff. She was deep in her depression. She was so deep in her depression that she stopped attending school. Naturally, her parents were incredibly concerned when they spoke to her about the depression. Greta opened up to them about her climate crisis worries. So, allegedly, this made her very depressed to the point where she stopped attending school. Her mother's career as an opera singer meant flying across the world, but she stopped flying across and chose instead to perform in Stockholm based on her daughter's anxieties, dude. Okay, well, good for this girl, man. I'm glad that she cares. Could she be a time traveler? Sounds like probably after reading all this. But That's it, dude.
That's kind of weird.
I mean,
what is she? She just cares. Like she's not a scientist.
it's saying that based on basically like some mental situations, Asperger's and selective mutism, that basically like she wasn't able to effectively compartmentalize that information, and she just is like constantly thinking about it.
Huh.
But you know, I'm honestly not sure about that, or you know, if that's an accurate description of something that even could happen. But
I don't know.
it's bizarre, man. So her next step was to go public. In May 2018, at the age of 15, Greta entered a climate writing competition held by Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet. That's the most
so European.
Sweden. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I would like to read up some more stuff about this girl and what's going on with this girl. Not right now, but maybe we can come back to this at some point.
That's
because
fine.
It is somewhat fascinating, in my opinion. So
I need to grab something real quick.
yeah,
I'll be right back.
go ahead.
Oh, Skinny
Let me do a vape real quick.
Skinny Rick is out here, bro, with this 20 ounce dirty chai. Oh yeah, dude. So chai.
So Skinny Rick just interrupted the cast to go get his dirty chai.
Yeah, boy.
Only somebody with a mullet orders a dirty chai with a straight face and enjoys it.
Oh, it's good, dude.
So earlier today, we watched a video of some stuff that's going on with these Hong Kong situation. There was what looked like a pretty young kid, and whenever I say kid and young, I mean like 20 something,
Now,
probably early 20s. Go ahead.
I don't. It's not like.
Please don't be racist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like a racist thing. I'm just saying, like, typically, like, Asian guys, they just look young until a certain age, and then they're just not young anymore.
I don't know if we're going to put this in there.
Dude, I'm just like for me, like, I've looked way older than I am most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But like some people just look young, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just young looking.
Well, you got to look at the guy's style too, dude. That's what I looked at. I didn't just let my head go straight into racism, dude. We even been doing a class on it for 5 weeks now, bro.
Dude, it's not racist, bro. It's just young.
All
If
right,
anything,
anyway.
It's ageist.
All right, the guy was wearing skinny jeans. He had a very stylish looking hoodie.
was
My
styling.
assumption is that he was in his early 20s. That's just what I'm just saying.
Is that your okay? When you said young, I thought you meant like a minor.
No, not like 14, 15. He was definitely
that changes things.
Yeah, older than you.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. That's just the way that you comprehend young. I mean, everybody comprehends young based on how old they are, which is really weird whenever you think about it. But so this kid, probably in his early 20s, we're not going to put this video up. I decided we don't want to do this. And I saw this I did see this. It was on somebody's Facebook page. I can't remember whose it was, but basically this kid goes and it's a okay. So first off, if you don't know what's happening in Hong Kong right now, basically what's happening is you have Hong Kong, which is they're attempting to do like a capitalist, somewhat democracy style government over there. And then you have mainland China, who is they are a communist nation. And so what they did was start some type of treaty for extradition, which would make different from Hong Kong. They would be able to extradite criminals to the places where they allegedly committed the crime. And so this includes mainland China. And the issue with that is that mainland China is it's a communist government, and basically, if they want, they can just make you disappear without trial, without any of that stuff. And the fear and the reason that all these protests are happening is because what they think will start happening is that mainland China will start coming and basically kidnapping people from Hong Kong that were just political activists and stuff like that, under the guise of, basically saying that they committed a worse crime there. And so all of these protests were happening. It started with this one guy that was accused of committing a murder in Taiwan. And got extradited. So that's kind of what all started it. And so in this video, there is some type of law enforcement officer who is sort of being attacked and pushed around by one person who is wearing all black with a mask on, and there is another guy that is taunting the officer while he's being attacked by another person.
Yeah.
And the officer decides to shoot the guy who is taunting, who is unarmed.
I mean, definitely. It's that stuff gets so...
And he kills him.
No, yeah.
He kills him. And probably also the person who was attacking him as well.
That stuff gets so... what's the word I'm looking for? It just gets so complicated so fast because, I can't really speak for what law enforcement is like in another country, but as far as even here, just in America, like seeing, like finding out that someone unarmed, gets shot in a I don't know what the term they use. It's something like police involved, something. It's just like, the thing is yes, he was unarmed. The cop shouldn't have shot him. But in that moment when you've got, it looked like 3 guys attacking the officer.
It looked like one guy that was attacking him, and then that other guy was taunting him.
Yeah.
And then there were multiple officers that were all kind of in scuffles around at the same time. But he pulls his gun out, points it at him, and the guy kind of just does this towards it, and then he shoots him. He's, he had long enough to think about it, for sure.
He shouldn't have shot him. Also,
here's the other thing.
The guy shouldn't be attacking him.
It is out of context, but then you watch, another one of the videos is another law enforcement guy on a big motorcycle just straight running people over. Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't know. So here's I don't know what to do with that. As far as more local stuff, there was a video Shane was watching and was freaking out about. He was it's basically, this video is this officer is responding to I don't know if it was a call or if he heard something, but basically he's entering this guy's property. He hops the fence. He's walking up, and a dog comes around the corner, just full sprint, barking, running right at the officer. And the thing is he shot the dog.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the dog died or not. They didn't show it in the video. The dog got up and was trying to crawl away, basically. Yeah. But it's in situations like that, you got to think, if you're the officer, it's people just tend not to put themselves in the position of where the pressure is at, because that pressure of, do I shoot, trying to evaluate how much danger your life is in is difficult, in that situation. And I saw a video of a guy, an Uber driver who shot someone, and the video is a dash cam footage. And the guy is in this truck. So the Uber driver's car, and then there's a truck, comes up, cuts him off, and just brake checks him. And they both stop. The guy gets out of the car. It's nighttime. You can't tell what he has in his hand. I thought it was a gun. When you look at the footage, if you zoom in, it's a phone. Yeah. He's got something in his hand. He gets out. He screams at the guy, "You know I've got an effing pistol or something like that, and I'll kill you." And he freaking holds the phone up like this, the phone. And so the Uber driver has like a passenger, and so he draws and shoots the guy and ends up actually, I think, saving the guy. The Uber driver gets out and does a first aid. But it's like you just got to, like, when there's someone on top of you, things escalate too quickly, which is why for me it's like I don't know what it's like in China. Here I've had cops draw guns on me before, like, and I'm not doing anything. And the way I respond is, all right, if I'm not doing anything, I'm not going to get in trouble. If I freak out and don't comply, that puts stress on them, which escalates the situation. So I guess just learning how to diffuse situations is important.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I don't know,
man.
Should he have shot the kid? Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Should that other dude have been attacking an officer? Probably also not. Like especially if you're trying to do a protest.
Yeah, but they like guns are illegal there, so there's no like. I could understand if there's like 5 guys, like you're not supposed to beat up anybody, especially a law enforcement, whatever. But I can see if there's like 5 people that are just, but they don't. I mean, unless a guy's getting stabbed or something, like you're still dealing with a kid. And I want to say that the person that was attacking him was a female.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's just like the guy wasn't gonna die. The guy wasn't going to die if both of them jumped on him and punched him in the face.
But that's the thing is like that weapon was on him. And there are situations where people draw weapons off of officers and end up killing them.
Yeah, I guess. He had that thing in his hand, though, from the start of the video.
Oh, did he have it in his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not trying to defend what he did, because what he did was wrong. I just am saying, like, it's just way too complicated for it to be either or.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that. I mean, none of us know the context of what happened in that situation.
I also know that things over in China are very different than here, and it's not the same. So like
even the way that they were dealing with those bodies, it looked like they were just about to drag them away.
Yeah, even that, when they show, it looked like they had like their equivalent of like SWAT or whatever show up, because the guy was in riot gear in the second video, and they just like pick up the body, and that's not the same protocol. What the heck is happening? Dude, imagine that all the time in my house. People are like, why don't you get good sleep, or why are you stressed out? It's like, oh, maybe it's because there's 3 other people in the house going.
Can I put this in this?
Yeah, like what the heck, like that, and then it'll be 2 a.m.
Yeah,
and then so I share a wall with Zoe and Ezra, okay, and we have in-wall speakers, which means that basically the speakers are in my room.
It means that the wall is basically the
speaker. Yes. And so I'll be asleep. And then at 2 a.m., Zoe decides, hey, Google, play music as loud as you can. And then I wake up to whatever it decides to play. Sometimes it's Ed Sheeran. Sometimes it's Hillsong. Like...
Sometimes it's Baby Shark.
One time it was an artist I'd never heard of, but dude, as far as like the swear words per minute, it was at least 72.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And Zoe was like just crying in his bed, like, what?
He was upset.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't tell it to do that. And I was like, go to bed.
That's hilarious. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude, this China thing, I mean, I don't know, bro. He shouldn't have shot the guy. I understand he had a lot of pressure on him, and you never know what's going to happen whenever that happens. This is also what happens whenever you do a communism and you take weapons away from people.
People don't like it. Yeah.
Yep. So
I don't know. The whole situation just shouldn't have happened,
I mean, you got to look back at the stuff that happens after guns are taken away from people. You know what I mean?
It's not good.
Tons of genocides have happened, directly following those situations. Ones like the Holocaust.
We've kind of talked about it before, and we try not to get too into like super politically divided stuff, I guess. But like the reality is just like you don't have to like guns. Let's do a better job at like
everybody
not regulating guns, but because basically like and I'm not going to act like I know everything. I'm not even technically legally old enough to own a gun until next year. But like from all the research I've done, and even watching my dad go through the process of purchasing a firearm at a gun show, the process is great. The problem is that the departments don't communicate with each other. So what ends up happening is it's the government that ends up failing at their job. The sellers, dude, those guys, because you got to think, if someone is the type of person who's going to go to a gun show and sell guns there, they like guns. They also like how much money they can get for those guns. They're like, those guys will not cut any corners. Straight up, if you're in there being sketchy, they'll tell you to leave or call the cops on you.
Yeah, it's a lot like
the whole you can walk into a gun show and leave. Like walking with a few, whatever, handful of cash. Not like that's not how it works. We've sat there for hours going through paperwork, and they'll make you redo it. If they send it in and it like the system glitches or something, you have to restart the whole process.
Now there is an issue with the level of networking there, and it is a bunch of people that like guns that have guns all in one place. And I know that you can do what you're talking about in the parking lot.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Places.
And with that, that's just the same as buying. So, I mean, you got to think about it like, I guess, similarly with with a car where like you have a title and it's in someone's name. The way that works is, if you buy a gun in a parking lot, if that gun gets used, like it gets traced back to whoever had it.
Yeah.
Whoever's name is on the thing. So, and that's another thing that's why, like my dad doesn't sell guns to anyone he doesn't like know and trust, because what ends up happening is if you sell a gun to a guy and he uses that in an illegal manner,
in your name,
and you are therefore at fault. And so I'm not saying that we can't improve stuff. I just think that making it more difficult to get guns is not as good of an option as knowing who has the guns, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
making the process more difficult is pretty much the same thing as if you make it so difficult to where no one can get a gun, then you're basically just taking them away.
But at the same time, like what you're saying is like knowing the people that have the guns, like that vetting process would make it more difficult and make the time to be able to acquire those things take longer. And this is coming from two people that like, I don't own guns. Like, would I own a gun? Yeah, I would own a gun, but I don't. And this isn't us trying to do a political, like this is like everybody on the planet should be able to agree that people that kill people using guns is a bad thing. And people dying at all is a bad thing. So you can't say that guns kill people or the people kill people. It's some people kill people, and whenever they do it, they use guns to do it.
I actually was talking with someone. He's actually a police officer. I don't know him super well. He just came into the shop one day while we were working with his family. They're on vacation, talking about I think he was talking about he wants to move to Savannah or something.
Yeah.
He's from I can't remember if he said he was from London. He's somewhere in England. And he's a police officer, and he was talking about how weird it is to come here and see people. It's not super common to see someone open carrying a firearm around here, but it does happen. He saw someone at a restaurant, and he was like, that was just a weird thing to me.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, this guy is like probably not, into that.
Yeah.
But then he went on to be like, and I love it. And I was like, what? He was like I think, I think that there are some issues with it, but like the argument that we're going to crack down on crime by getting rid of guns isn't real. And he was like, before I left, I dealt with a homicide where a man like a husband killed his family with a knife, like his cousin or something. Yeah. Basically, he was like, his thing was like, people who are going to commit crimes are going to do it however they can find a way to do it. Yeah. And so by getting rid of firearms, you're not necessarily doing anything except getting rid of firearms. He said they're just going to get a knife or they're going to make a bomb or something.
Yeah.
So
it's true. The issue, the big argument a lot of times that surrounds it is, the amount of damage that can be done in a short period of time, and that is true. I mean, it's much like a room full of, if somebody walked in here right now with a knife, like there's a good chance that before both of us die, we could overpower them and finish it. If somebody walks in here with a gun.
I mean, I will say also part of that, I don't know. I carry a knife with me everywhere. Yeah. It's not illegal. I try to make sure that I follow the laws, but the laws change between states. So at the end of the day, it's like, it's also different. If you get caught carrying a firearm illegally, like that's bad news. Yeah. If you get caught carrying a knife illegally, odds are the cop's going to either take it from you or be like, hey, you can't carry that. You can have it at your house or whatever. But anyways, like I have a knife on me. So if someone comes in with a knife and I draw my knife, like that doesn't level the playing field, but it's the same thing. Like if someone came in with a gun and one of us had a gun, like if that makes sense. So my thing is like getting rid of it. Criminals do stuff illegally. Yeah. So you're just going to get guns illegally. Yeah. So it just, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense because the idea is that, if we get rid of guns, criminals won't have guns. Well,
yeah, most criminals that are using guns that are illegal anyway. Like, guns have been around long enough that you're not going to ever get rid of all the guns. Yeah, like that's just the way. Yeah. It is.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll get a gun, dude.
I will say, basically, blood doesn't make me queasy. Seeing someone get injured, I've injured myself. I cut my hands all the time on accident working on stuff. Like, blood doesn't gross me out. Talking about it or medical terms, something about it makes me queasy. Now, that being said, I tried to do the Stop the Bleed training when they came through. Yeah. And I couldn't. I almost blacked out at the table. Since then, I have been researching it online, slowly trying to learn, and then whenever I feel like I'm getting sick, I'll stop. I believe that if you're going to carry a firearm, if you're going to take it upon yourself to have something that can if you basically are going to put yourself into a situation where you could take someone's life, whether they be attacking someone, whatever. Yeah. I am a strong believer that you should know how to save someone's life if you're going to be willing to take it. Yeah. For sure. I will say, like, lots of what's the company that came through here that basically they do, like, they'll defend you in court if you like, basically it's like an insurance company for self-defense. Yeah. And they basically will defend you in court if someone says that you used a firearm in a good way. Yeah. Legal. This is rolling, right? Because I hit record. Yeah. I had PTSD from the Halloween episode. Yeah. But like, they'll tell you always shoot to kill, because what ends up happening is that person who gets shot, if they recover, usually end up suing you. There are guys who home invaders come in armed, the guy shoots them, then saves their life, and then they come back and sue him and get all of his stuff. I don't want.
You should have just gave it to him in the first place.
Well,
Whenever he broke in, you know?
I don't agree with that just because I don't want to have to ever be in a situation where, I defended my family or myself.
Yeah.
But also that's someone's kid.
Yeah.
Like that could be someone's parent. That could be a brother, a sister. Like they have family that is going to be affected.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault, if that makes sense.
The at the end of the day, the biggest issue is that we live in a society where people feel the need to have something that they can defend themselves with.
Yeah.
And we do live in that. That is a society that we live in.
I'm all for it just because I just find it so hard to I don't know, stories like that guy who saved all those people during the church shooting because he had an AR-15, the weapon that everyone hates right now, which is a whole nother thing in itself. There are worse weapons out there, but it's just like, and don't get me wrong, like people who call weapons or firearms, people who are like, it's not a weapon, it's a tool. I don't know about that. I do think of a firearm as a tool because it has a proper use and an improper use. And if you use it the wrong way, it's going to hurt you. Yeah. Like if that makes sense. Yeah. So is its intention to kill? Yes. Like that is what it's designed for. Yeah. But also it has a proper use. You have to understand how to use it, when to use it, like things like that. So I think more people just need to be educated on how firearms work and like really especially each state has its own laws. So knowing what your state says is a fair use of lethal force. So I always encourage people like look into it, because what makes me mad is when I see people on like in the news talking about how terrible firearms are and then not even knowing what they're talking about. Like I forgot who it was. Some lady was talking about the AR-15 that fires 50 caliber rounds.
Not a thing.
No, dude. Yeah. A 50 cal is designed to stop an engine block. It's designed to shoot at a Humvee and it stop it. Yeah. And I don't have like a round to show you, but I mean, I guess I could pull up a picture.
It's big. There's a girl on Facebook that she goes around like college campuses into different like firearm activism things and like just makes stuff up and tells it to people who are against it.
All right,
gets them to like, she's like, you could put a piece of cotton in the barrel of this thing and it becomes fully automatic. And the lady's like,
the heck?
Yeah, guns, we need to. Okay. If we can do that, then. And it's like.
So that top one,
just educate yourself.
That top round is what an AR-15 shoots. Yeah. That bottom round is a 50 cal. Yeah. Just for comparison. So like, that's what makes me mad and that could just be from the point where it's like, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'll either preface it by I'm not an expert. Yeah. Or I just won't get involved. So like just understand and technically I'm not allowed to own a rifle. So it is my dad's rifle. But I technically own an AR-15. It's my dad's. I built it. Like actually built it. Like all the pins and everything, assembled it. So I understand exactly how it works, every part of it, how it goes together, how it works, like exactly the process of when you fire around, what happens. I think that's important. I think people should know the ins and outs of what they're going to talk about before they get into an argument over the laws about it. Yeah, you know?
For sure. I agree, man.
So I'd recommend no matter what side because there are people who will also be like, we should have guns just because their parents owned guns. They don't even know how to use them, like just research it, just look into it. There are plenty of videos out there. There are 3D models that show you exactly the ins and outs of how it works mechanically. Understand what the different calibers can, like, what they do. Because, like, police, law enforcement carry, you know, in their sidearms, handguns, obviously, has a smaller round.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is there's less powder, so it doesn't shoot as fast. It won't go as far. It's not as accurate because of the shorter barrel, but they carry hollow points, which do a lot more damage.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because a normal round will pass through whatever, you know, a person, you know, it'll go through. What happens with the hollow point is it ends up expanding inside of the target, similar to some hunters who bow hunt will use tipped arrows that open as soon as they hit the target.
Yeah.
It's basically stopping power. And the idea with that is a law enforcement use that so that if you're in a scenario where it's a public setting, let's say there's an active shooter. That's a good example. I saw there was a police officer who responded to an active shooter that, like, I think last year or something. Whole bunch of civilians around, but an unarmed, you know, hostile. There was a guy killing people. Hollow points stop in the target. So you're not going to, they call it the backdrop. Make sure you know what you're shooting into, because if you shoot at the bad guy, but there's people behind him, you're going to hit the people. With hollow points, they stop. They also hit harder, which means that they're less likely to keep moving. So I don't know if you've ever seen any stuff like that. I mean, in that video, I don't understand what happened there. The guy dropped immediately. Most of the time, when you've got a shootout like that, or not like that, but a shootout, people don't go down when they get hit. Like,
well, he shot him in the stomach.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's different. That he was unarmed and wasn't attacking him. I'm just talking about, like, scenarios where there is a threat and someone's trying to hurt someone else. What ends up happening is basically the round just works different. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not law enforcement, not even old enough to vote. But I do know a lot about this stuff just because I wouldn't say I necessarily grew up with it, because it wasn't until just a few years ago that my dad started getting into guns. In fact, he didn't really care about them for most of my life.
Yeah. Well, but you know, it's good that you have educated yourself on this stuff, because you'll you know, own them whenever you're at the age where you can, and
for sure.
And it's definitely, you know, I commend you for that, for knowing as much as you do and to educate yourself about it.
It's I don't know. Like, I don't know, for anyone who's ever shot a gun, most of the time people either hate it because it's loud and intrusive and it kicks and it scares them, basically. Yeah. They're afraid of the weapon. For people who get past that, most of the time range shooting, people enjoy it. It's fun. Like, I don't know if you've ever done skeet shooting where you shoot clay pigeons with shotguns.
It's been a long time.
That's a sport. Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
But firearms are dangerous. Like, they like, people die.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't use them properly. Sure. And there are a lot of mishaps on the range. We had at a local range here in Savannah, a man died a month or two ago because he was not handling his firearm properly, and he shot his buddy. So just, I think it's a huge thing, is knowing how it functions, when to use it, how to use it, you know? Know that before you're going to get involved in the conversation over whether or not we should even have them.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, I think that's a good spot for us to stop. I agree with all that stuff. Maybe I will take it upon myself to learn a lot more of this stuff. I mean, I was, you know, around guns and stuff whenever I was a kid, but you know, getting older, moving around and stuff like that, it just wasn't something that I was into really having, you know, with me, trying to keep up with different laws in different places. I've moved.
It is, yeah. If you move a lot, it is very difficult.
Yeah. So,
like, even traveling, I have lots of family who own guns and carry.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, when we go to Alabama to visit family, the laws are different there. So one thing that I don't think actually changes at all throughout the states is property laws. So like technically your car is your property. So we can have like my dad usually when we travel, we keep in the car, we keep in a little emergency bag in case we break down. Yeah. It's got just like a few water bottles, some granola bars, flashlights, some blankets, I don't know, simple stuff. Yeah. And then he keeps we don't like carry like an arsenal with us, but he keeps like his handgun, like his carry weapon with him. Yeah. So like, but like when we went through, I think we were traveling through New York or something, like the laws are very different there. So like he couldn't have it with him. So it had to stay locked, like in a lock safe in the car, like chained to the seats and stuff. So, you know, I think just know what you're doing, where you're going. And at the end of the day, like I have friends who don't like guns. Yeah. Like say, I'll never own one. Like, but I believe that you should have the right to like own one, if that makes sense, if you choose. Most of that stems from, like I have a friend who lost a family member to a firearm because of misuse. Yeah. The guy was moving. He had a shotgun, had it stacked in a pile of stuff and didn't clear it properly. So it still had a round in it and didn't know. He thought it was safe. He dropped it on accident. It went off and killed him. And so, you know, I don't think everyone should own a weapon, you know, but I think everyone should know about how it works. Yeah, for sure. So I agree. Well, that'll be it, man. Everybody, thank y'all for watching. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at TBATQuinn. And you can follow Skinny Rick. Give him yours. At TBAT Skinny Rick, SKINERICK. That's it. Pretty fire Twitter account. Yeah, he's been pretty active on the Twitter. I'm loving it, dude. I don't know how it works. Yeah, like you're doing it, dude. The homepage, right. Like scrolling through it. If I understand it properly, because every time I log in, so the only social media I really use is I downloaded TikTok a while back. Yeah. Snapchat I've done before. Instagram I did way back when it like came out and did it for several years and then quit. But most of the time when you log in to your homepage, it starts you at the top. Yeah. Of what's most recent. And then you scroll down until like basically it goes back in the timeline until you hit stuff that you've seen before. Yeah. With Twitter, for some reason, it logs in the middle of the page, like wherever I left off. So if there's new posts, I got to scroll up to get to them. Yeah. It's interesting. So yeah, it's fun. But I just always click up on my profile and just go to my page because I just love posting stuff. Yeah. Like anytime I think of something, just put it on there, bro. Yeah, it's a good spot to do that. It's short and sweet, and it doesn't let you make yourself look too dumb. You only got 140 characters to do it. But then again, you know, you got people like Roseanne and all that. Dude, you won't catch me out there doing any debates, dude. I'm out there doing some fresh memes. Yeah. That's it. It up. Yep. So that's going to be it, dude. Everybody, thank y'all for watching again. We'll have the Thanksgiving episode out. I did not get to cover Epstein stuff today. There is Epstein stuff. Maybe we will cover it in the Thanksgiving episode. Cover it in the Thanksgiving, yeah. Now, I will say we don't say it very often, but really, I don't know how you feel about it. I have no problem asking people to like and share because I mean, I've been doing every time I post it out. Okay, yeah. Like, but honestly, comments, like if you have a question or if you have an opinion about what we're talking about, like, say I think there's someone who's been commenting, talking about our, it's the my old WoW guild leader. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And I've reached out to him. You know, if you comment, we'll probably just reach out to you privately, especially if you're. Now we're not trying to do an argument down in the comments, but so we're not interested in that stuff. But yeah, so do that, and we will see y'all later. Have a good week. See you on Thanksgiving, dude. Dude, you know we gotta end.